You are now entering a vibe. Pause the noise, take control. You're listening to Allusions of the Soul.
Welcome, beautiful souls, wherever you're tuning in from, whether you found this podcast in a season of searching, in a moment of quiet curiosity, or in the middle of a storm that you are still trying to find your way through. I want you to know that you are not here by accident. You are led here. And whatever you're carrying right now, whatever weight has followed you into this moment, I want you to feel from the very first breath of this introduction that you are safe here. You are seen here. And you are so very welcome here. This space was created for the ones who have felt the ache of something deeper, for the ones who sat in rooms full of people and still felt completely alone, for the ones who have smiled on the outside while quietly falling apart on the inside, for the ones still searching for healing, for truth, for a love that does not leave. This is for you. There are some journeys that begin long before you realize you are on one. Mine was like that. It did not start the day I walked into a church or the day I first heard his name spoken over my life. It started somewhere much earlier, in the quiet ache of a little girl who did not yet have the language for what she was feeling, only a hunger. A hunger so deep, so persistent, that she would spend years trying to feed it with everything that was never meant to satisfy it. This podcast is the story of that journey. I will take you with me back through the years before I came to know Christ and forward through the ones that followed. Because the truth is, finding the church did not instantly mean finding freedom. I sat in those pews, I sang those songs, I raised my hands and meant it. And yet, beneath the surface of it all, there was still so much that had not been touched, so much that had not been named, a deeper work that needed to happen in the interior places of my life, the unpacking, the healing, the slow and often painful breaking down of strongholds that had quietly shaped me for years. For a long time, I was inside the church environment, but I had not yet experienced what it truly meant to surrender. I had not yet stood in the fullness of deliverance or felt the weight of what a genuine encounter with God can do to a person, to a soul. I was present, but not yet free. And part of what kept me bound, though I could not see it clearly then, was this. I was looking for love in all the wrong places. I looked for it in relationships. I looked for it in people. I searched for it in the eyes of those who, no matter how much they cared, simply did not have what I needed most. I was trying to receive from human hands something that only God's hands were designed to give. I was reaching outward for what could only come from within and from above. What I did not understand yet was that I was not just searching for love. I was searching to fill wounds, deep ones, the kind that form in the silent moments of childhood when love is absent, inconsistent, or conditional. Wounds of abandonment, wounds of rejection. And because those wounds were never properly healed, they created an emptiness inside me, a hollowness that no person, no validation, no relationship, no achievement can ever truly reach. I tried. God knows I tried. And before I finally surrendered, before I finally stopped running and turned around to face what was real, I walked through some very, very dark places. Places I'm not ashamed of anymore, because they became the very ground God chose to meet me on. Through the fire, He was there. Through the breaking, He was there. Through the long and tender process of healing, He was still there, patient, present, and unwilling to let me go. And little by little, in ways I'm still discovering even now, He began to restore me. This podcast is the reflection of that restoration. It moves through seasons, from the moments I was fueling flames and I did not yet understand, to the season when everything just burned to the ground, to the slow and sacred work of gratitude and inner healing, and finally to rising from the ashes of everything I thought had destroyed me, only to find that the fire had been refining me all along. This is not just a story about pain. This is a story about what happens after the pain. When you stop running, when you finally let God in, when the healing begins not as a single moment, but as a daily, ongoing, beautiful act of surrender. This is Allusions of the Soul, and I am so glad you're here.